Please make sure to get this book at Amazon or BarnesandNoble.com. The links will be in the description box below as usual. Alright, so let's get into the reading. As you can see, I'm shuffling up the cards, right? Alright. Alright. So, first card that I came up with is Ten of Swords, Queen of Swords, Nine of Rods, Knight of Swords, King of Cups, the Empress, Ten of Rods, Ten of Cups, Nine of Cups, Knight of Pentacles, Three of Pentacles, Four of Wands, Four of Cups, the Temperance, and the Five of Swords. Alright, so for the Scorpios, what I'm seeing here is some of you Scorpios, Ten of Swords, just got out of a bad relationship. And a lot of you Scorpios don't necessarily want to continue to do the same things that you used to do. That would have a lot of you Scorpios in a position where you get yourselves into relationships that seemingly are good at first, but end up turning bad. You don't want that anymore. So the Queen of Swords and Nine of Rods both represent how now a lot of you Scorpios are on even higher alert. See, the thing is that a lot of you Scorpios need to know what to look out for. Sometimes you Scorpios can be, and I was having a great conversation with this Scorpio. Sometimes you Scorpios can be a little bit too quick to cut people off, especially when you don't necessarily have any kind of evidence. What you really want to do is you really should make sure to see if you and this person can actually go well together in a relationship. You don't want to cut somebody off just when they're starting to show you who they are and you misinterpret certain things. So what I would suggest for you Scorpios to do, number one, is to get yourselves into more relationships. But number two is to also understand what to look out for in a relationship and what not to look out for. The Nine of Rods represent how you may be coming down a little bit too heavy on the people whom you're dating or the people whom in the future you're going to be dating. The Knight of Swords, you may have people out here who really do want to do right by you, but you're treating them with a heavy hand. The King of Cups, you may not even necessarily care that you're treating them with a heavy hand. You Scorpios know that you Scorpios have to essentially protect yourselves. So you Scorpios are going to do whatever is necessary in order for you to do that. If you ask me, Scorpio, you're thinking a little bit too much like a water sign. Water signs are a little, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, are too predicated on self-preservation, and that's where the accountability lacks. Because too oftentimes, the water signs will have a problem with understanding that because you're doing what it is that you're doing, or what you did in the past, you end up hurting other people who looked up to you. And again, you're thinking a little bit too much, my Scorpios, upon self-preservation. This is the reason why you're coming down hard on other people, right? So the Empress is about how you have to learn how to date. You have to relearn how to date. You already got the Queen of Swords, which is royalty. But then you have the major arcana of royalty, which is the Empress. So what it's showing me is you have to learn how to interact and engage with people. And how you do that in the first place. Is you're going to have to learn how to be a lot more patient with people. I understand You're here to take care of your own self. I understand that. But there's a way for you. See, this is what hanging out with well-grounded, level-headed Virgos will get you. Because remember, Virgo and Scorpio used to share zodiac sign. What it's showing you is, which means that there's a connection to the whole Taurus energy as well between Virgo and Taurus and Scorpio. And what it's there to show you is you got to understand this is where the Virgo energy comes into play. Because it's supposed to teach you, you need to learn a certain level of patience, right? And a certain level of mercifulness. You don't lead people like that. You don't engage with people like that. You don't. You engage people with compassion. Anytime you engage with people a little bit too heavy-handed, too judgmental, you're having people who essentially don't want to conduct business with you, don't want to hang out with you, or straight up enemies. And you don't want that kind of energy coming out in your dating life. So what you want to do is you want to be able to where if you want to be more selective, you have to be able to you have to be able to keep your eyes open to certain things. One of the things that you need to learn to keep your eyes open to is principles as opposed to morals. Too many times people are predicated off of morals a little bit too much, and that's part of the problem. Because morals is political. I'm going to say this. Maybe I should turn off the light here. Okay, yeah. There we go. Morals are political, right? As to where principles are not necessarily based on politics, right? Or theatrics. It's much more based upon the essence of what's happening. You understand what I'm saying? So the 10 of rods now and the 10 of cups represent how if you can learn to do that, well, first and foremost, you are going to meet someone. But obviously, even when you meet the person, if you have this heavy-handed approach, what I'm trying to tell you is you're going to run them off. Even if you meet someone in the future, it's still not going to work out because of your mentality. You're kind of paranoid. Rightfully so. But the 9 of cups and the 9 of pentacles represent how what you need to do is to learn to relax. And when you see a person who is messing up in principle as opposed to morality, what do I mean when I say some things in principle? I mean in a sense of people who maybe a person tries to pick a fight with you early in the relationship as you're getting to know them. You got to end that relationship. Or maybe kind of a situation where a person, you know, does a lot of drinking, smoking, drugs. If that's not you, because see, it's little clues like that, Scorpios, that show you this is the trajectory, or this is what the relationship is going to look like a month down the road, 2 months down the road, 3 months down the road. And if you decide, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get down with this, it's not going to get better. This is the reason why it is that, like, for me, for instance, and I'm kind of taking I don't date. I don't date. For me personally, on a personal level, I've dated so many people, you know what I'm saying, because they wasn't necessarily the right ones. It was just a train wreck getting into all these terrible dates and stuff like this, trying to do my endeavor best to, you know what I mean, to really put my best foot forward and stuff like this. But I don't date. You know, me personally, I think it's a waste of my time. I'm really more so interested in booty calls, to be honest with you, and interact with people on some booty call level, straight up. Because just because of, because of that. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people have honor and integrity anymore. So it's like for me, it's like and it's kind of the same situation that a lot of these Scorpios is going through. But what I'm trying to show you, Scorpios, is that if you're going to be in a relationship, if you're going to keep going for that, then I'm trying to give you clues as to how it is that you can keep a watchful eye out. Any kind of idiocracy that a person, have the headphones on and they do muff out or kind of snuff out a lot of sound, so I can't necessarily hear myself talk, so I gotta talk slower, right? Any kind of idiocracy that someone shows you is a red flag. The Three of Pentacles, Four of Wands, Four of Cups. What you also want to do too, my Scorpios, is you also want to interact with people who you can be in a conversation with, right? Too many times nowadays, people are only interested in small talk, not even realizing that small talk actually goes to show that you're not really very high quality, because small talk is whack. That's a huge red flag when someone can't get off of small talk and talk about anything important. I'm talking about seriously important. That's how you know the person is on some BS. Because what happens is that they can't even tell you something that's important to them. Because essentially that's what big talk is, right? Compared to small talk. It's you talking about something that is meaningful to you, right? Like for me, for instance, like space travel and stuff like this is important to me. Y'all already know I'm interested in physics and astrophysics and quantum physics. So space travel is important to me. So it's like if I'm interacting with somebody and I'm like, hey, Elon Musk supposedly is building a spaceship and they're gonna try to get their first settlement on Mars, which is a real story, by the way. And you're like, oh, boring. Okay. Well, what do you got going on? Oh, you yawning, oh, and all this other type of stuff. And you don't have anything truly important to contribute that is imaginative and creative and, tingles, is like salt for taste. You know what I mean? Actually adds to your taste buds, so to speak. Then I know, for instance, me and that particular person who I'm talking to, there's no point in talking to that person because that person is kind of in delusional world. So someone who is good company, too many times too, people want to hang out with people who still exhibit jeopardizing traits. And that's what it is, that they stop hanging out with people who have overly jeopardizing traits. Even Malcolm X, who used to be a criminal, gave that up and denounced it since then. And that's my point. Yeah, they come from a checkered past, but they didn't spend their entire life that way. They literally decided to get out when they wanted to get out, and they was done for the rest of their life. Stop hanging out with individuals who are terrible company to keep. These are the people who may sell bud and all this other type of stuff on the low. Stop hanging out with those people. If you want to be in a relationship, the person's going to have to be squared away 100%. They are squared. They're completely out of that stuff. That way, they have the capability to actually be emotionally available. So the Temperance and the Five of Swords, represent how a lot of you Scorpios as well are going to have to learn to start hanging out with people who want to hang out with you. Five of Swords. Stop hanging out with people who ghost you. You don't hear from them until weeks later and stuff. That's a terrible flag. That's a red flag. what they're showing you is that they're not interested in being in one of those relationships where the two of you are actually communicating back and forth. See, the way that Scorpio normally would have it is, if the Scorpio, right, and I'm not knocking Scorpios, I'm just trying to show you how you can have more success when you change your perspective. See, the Scorpios back then used to have a mentality of, well, if you said something or whatnot that I didn't necessarily particularly like, then it means that, you know, even if it was true, then I'm looking at you a certain kind of way, even if it was true. And the Scorpios will end up losing a calm, cool, collected mindset and will end up cutting the person off. Oh, you don't want to have anything to do with the person. The person is all done. It is what it is. What I'm trying to let you Scorpios know and put your own wisdom is, you Scorpios are in a disposition now where, if this is what it is that you want, if you want to be able to find love, you're going to have to be more wise about how it is that you judge people. Because too often times people disregard a person like myself, not even realizing I'm upwardly mobile. So not only would they get the love, they will get to hang out with me, someone who is good company, but they spend so much of their time being on some BS. All I have to do essentially is stand back and watch them make a complete idiot out of themselves. So that's all it is that you Scorpios have to do. It really. Let's clarify the Five of Swords. King of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, Eight of Wands. Yeah, you Scorpios are in a position where a lot of these Scorpios, y'all are good. You know, these are some of the traits that you need to watch out for. When you see these traits, move on from the person confidently, because you have nothing to worry about, and simply begin speaking to other people. Let's clarify the Temperance. The Death card, Three of Swords, Eight of Cups. Clarify the Temperance. What the Temperance is saying is, don't cut someone off. Oh, and this is a Scorpio reading, and the Death is Scorpio. It's saying don't necessarily cut someone off because they said something that was harsh. Remember, you Scorpios need to learn to be able to take criticism and be anti-fragile, right? If you don't like cuss words, who cares? Don't look at the cuss words like, oh, I don't like this person said the F word. But did you understand the context around the F word of the other parts of the sentence that you didn't necessarily at first pay attention to? Listen to what it is that they're really trying to say. Listen to the message that is actually being conveyed here. So the Eight of Cups now represents, that will help you be able, like I said, that's another clue. That will help you be able to actually justify and see who is really in your corner and who is not. So that's pretty much it. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe. Peace.